Welcome to our highway design class. So today we want to learn how to split corridor. But before we do that, there are other things that we need to do before we get to how to split corridor. Okay. So now when you look at this profile, you realize that we have a very big slope at this point, which will require us to introduce drain. So we want to determine the length of the drain that we are going to introduce at this point. So based on our on-site review, we were able to identify that we will have drain from 2650, 26, 2625. So the drain will start from this point. So we are not going to provide drain for the entire length of the road. We will only provide drain for a particular length of the road. So we have already determined it outside that we will have drain from 2 plus 6 to 5 to 4750 to 4750. Now we have to identify these so that it will help us when we want to split corridor, because this particular section of the road will have a different assembly. This one will have a different assembly, while this one will also have another different assembly. So let's just so here at this point we will have you have a double cell culvert here. There will be a double cell culvert at this point, so we have to also indicate it. Okay, so let's two plus 625 to 4 plus 750. So total length So total length is 2125 meter. So we have a total length of 2125 meter. 2125 meter. Okay. So now let me, okay, let's switch back to Civil 3D. So I want to hide the surface now so that I can walk. So simply click no display, click on apply, click on OK. Okay, so the next thing we want to create our assembly. We want to create our assembly. So to create the assembly, you come to create assembly. So I'm going to name this assembly. I can call it training assembly. Training assembly. Then I will click on undivided crown. Then assembly style basic. Click on view edits. Click on OK. Then I will just look for a place and fix it here. Okay. So we are going to create two assembly. One will have trapezoidal drain on both sides, and the other one will have just shoulder without drain. So we have to start with the one that has trapezoidal drain. So for us to do that, you come to your tool palette, click on lane, click on here. So I think we can start with the right hand side. So the road will have 3-meter carriageway. So the slope here will be 2.5. Then the wearing cost here will be 0.3. Then the binder here will be 75, while this one here will be 150. This one here will be 250. Okay, so we can now okay. So the next thing is for us to go to go to trench. So we go to trench and we click on side ditch. So we click on side ditch. So there are two things we can do here. We can edit it here, or we can just use the default, then we now edit it. So let's use the default and edit. Okay. So we are not going to have a shoulder, so this will be up. So I will click on this, right click, come to assembly, sub-assembly properties, come to parameters. So the depth is going to be 0.75. The bottom width is going to be 600. Then the dish wall depth is going to be 150. Talking about the thickness of the wall, 150. Then this will be 0. This will also be 0. This will be 0. Okay. So let's attach the daylight. So the daylight that we are going to use here will be daylight general. So click on this. We can move these daylights. Can move it from here. Okay, so let's delete it completely. Then okay. So we can mirror it. Okay. So we are done with this one. We are done with this. So let's check out our assembly. So we have training assembly. Training assembly 1. So let's copy this for the second one. So we just copy. Now when you check the assemblies again, you will see that the one I just copied is called assembly training assembly 2. So let's rename this. So we can call this one. This one will be with shoulder. So with shoulder. With shoulder. Okay. With shoulder. So what we just need to do is to delete this, delete this, delete this, delete this, delete this. Then we go back to our two palettes. We look for shoulder. Okay, so we have our shoulder here. So we use shoulder extend all. So here we need to edit the shoulder information. So the shoulder is going to be 1 meter. And the shoulder slope is going to be 3.0. This will also be the sub-base slope 2.5. Then we will now have the asphalt on it. So this place will be 0. Then this will be 75. This will be 150, and this will be 250. So we come here. Okay. So we go to daylight. We click on daylight general. Then we come here. So we can now mirror this. Okay. So as you can see that we have two assembly now. We have this one for the slope, then we have this one for the other length of the road. And that was the reason we have to identify the length of where we will have the trapezoidal drain so that we can assign the assembly to that particular length. Okay, so we can now create our corridor. So let's create our corridor, and we are going to use this one to create, this one will now become the main corridor, which is training assembly with shoulder. So to create the corridor, you come here, go to corridor. Now I'm actually using 2025 Autodesk Civil 3D. So this will now be in their form corridor. So under the basic, we have that. Yes. Then okay, so we come here under alignment. So we're going to select the alignment here. So the alignment is going to be this one. Then we are going to use the proposed road level. Then under assembly, we are going to use training assembly with shoulder. So you have to be very careful with that. Also select this with shoulder. Yes. So the moment you have done selected that, you come to this, click on there from surface. Then we have selected everything. Then you click on OK. Then when you click on OK, click on apply, click on rebuild corridor. Then click on OK. So you see that the corridor is rebuilt. Now we rebuild this corridor using this assembly, but the whole road is not going to have this section, not going to have this assembly. The whole road is not going to have the entire length of the road is not going to have this assembly. So we will split the assembly so that we can bring this one in. So to achieve that, what we do is you click on the corridor. When you click on, okay, the first thing, what we need to do now is for us to identify that stretch. So I will go to 2 plus 2 plus 625. 2 plus 625. Okay, so we have it here. So let's just define that point. Just put point there. Then we go to the next one, which is 4 plus 750. 4 plus 750. 4 plus 7. Okay, this will have 4 plus 750. 4 plus 750. Okay. So now we want to split this corridor. I will click on the corridor. I will come to split region. Then I will click on it. Then come to where I want it. I will just give it a name somewhere there. So while it is still active, I will move to the next point, which is this one. Okay. So after I have done that, I will come to modify, click on modify, come to region properties. You click on region properties. So when you click on region properties, you click on the particular stretch that you want to change the assembly. So here, remember that we create this assembly using the assembly with shoulder. So we want to change it now to training assembly where we will have the trapezoidal drain. So when you change that, you click. Then when you are done, you click. So that will automatically change the assembly. So if you check from this point to this point, we'll have from this point to this point, we'll have this assembly. We'll have this assembly. And the remaining length of the road, which is here, here, and then here to here, we'll have this other assembly. Okay, so that is how to split your corridor. So thank you very much. I believe that you have learned something. See you in our next video. Bye.